It began with a joke, but for a decade, it became a race unlike any other. In 1926, a wealthy Toronto lawyer named Charles Vance Millar passed away. He had no wife, no children, and no close heirs. But what he did have was a sense of humor and a meticulously crafted will that would turn the city of Toronto into the stage for one of the most bizarre contests in history. Among the many stunts in Millar's will, like leaving shares in a Catholic-owned brewery to Protestant ministers, was a final clause that no one saw coming. It declared that the remainder of his estate would go to the Toronto woman who gave birth to the most children in the 10 years following his death. The Great Stork Derby, as it came to be known, officially began on October 31st, 1926. It would end exactly a decade later, with lawsuits, headlines, political uproar, and 4 exhausted women tying for the prize. Millar's strange legacy arrived just as the Great Depression took hold. For many families, the promise of a financial windfall offered hope during economic despair. Over a dozen Toronto women took the contest seriously, embarking on a high-stakes maternity marathon. One woman, Lucy Timlick, lost 3 infants but still managed to qualify, with 9 surviving, legally registered children. Another, Annie Smith, had twins during the final year of the race. Public fascination exploded. Newspapers began tracking participants like sports teams. According to 538, the Toronto Star struck deals to provide coverage, offering cash incentives for exclusive access to certain families. But the race also attracted darker elements. Some contestants reported receiving kidnapping threats, while others faced scorn for being seen as breeding for profit. The morality of the contest became a lightning rod for critics of birth control, poverty, and women's autonomy. By 1936, as the 10-year mark approached, legal debates flared. Could the clause even be enforced? Who counted as eligible? The Supreme Court of Canada weighed in, ruling that only legitimate, registered live births within wedlock could be included. Miscarriages, stillbirths, or children born outside of legal marriage were disqualified, regardless of circumstances. On October 31, 1936, the contest ended, but it would take another year for the final decision to be announced. In 1938, 4 women, Annie Smith, Kathleen Nagel, Lucy Temlick, and Isabel McLean, were each declared co-winners, having delivered 9 qualifying children each. They split an adjusted fortune of roughly $568,000 Canadian dollars, an enormous sum at the time. 2 other women, who had also borne large families but faced disqualifications due to questions of legitimacy, received smaller out-of-court settlements. The Great Stork Derby remains one of the most surreal chapters in legal and social history. It transformed birth into a public event, motherhood into a competitive endeavor, and Toronto into an unlikely stage for a fertility contest. While no Canadian law prohibited such a contest, lawmakers quietly acknowledged its uncomfortable legacy. The Derby raised ethical questions about what wills could compel and whether the private whims of the wealthy should shape the reproductive choices of the poor. In legal history, it's a landmark in testamentary freedom. In Canadian folklore, it's a tale of endurance, opportunism, and absurdity. Even today, it sparks debate. Was Millar a harmless prankster using his estate to amuse from beyond the grave, or a provocateur manipulating poverty for spectacle? What's clear is this. For 10 years, the race was real. The stakes were high, and the finish line was a courtroom, all because one man turned his will into a wager. If you liked what you watched, please like and subscribe. We post interesting and crazy stories from throughout history every Wednesday and Saturday. Yesterday's craziness, because yesterday was crazy too.